Welcome back everyone. In this tutorial I'm going to show you the properties window right here. So as you can see, my sprite is selected, and that means that all the properties on the sprite are here. But if I don't click the sprite, the game properties come back up. Alright, if we had more of these sprites around, we'd get into their individual properties as well. Alright, so let's just quickly go over this. We have the name of the sprite, and the default is just sprite, but what we're going to do is we're going to call this Mammoth. Now, whether you capitalize the first letter is up to you, but I generally like to have all of my main game objects to be, especially the ones that I interact with, to have that capital there. Plugin, Sprite, don't worry about that right now. Global, and we're not going to worry about this right now. So layer, we're going to talk about that, but if you want to change the layers, it's right here. Angle, if I just put in a number, there we go, it changes the angle of it. So I'm just going to put that back to 0. Also, if you make a change here and then go Control Z, there you go, it changes it back. Alright? The opacity, or opacity, whichever one you want to call it, is basically how solid the image is. If I push this to 50, you can see it becomes more transparent, and 0 means you can see through it 100%. Right? So we're just going to go put that back up to 100 because we want this to be completely solid. Position. Now, if you really want to, you can change this around. So as you can see, I'm moving this around, and both the position, the X, and the Y are all changing. So for example, if I move it back here, I can move it all around, and you can see them changing. Now you can input these manually. So let's say you really wanted this at 300 by 200. Okay, there we go. It puts it by 300 by 200. Okay, but you have to have that comma in there, and then you see what happens if you don't put that comma in there. Something weird happens. So 300 by 200. Now, the X is always going to be along the horizontal axis right here, and Y is the vertical. And it's very easy to get those confused. So, if we just go back to putting this to 300 and 200, then I wanted the X to be, let's say, 400, you're going to see it's moving over. This becomes very important when you have projectiles and other things that move around in an X and Y manner. Right? And so you can change them like that. But for the most part, we do this just like that. And the size, we changed that last time, but we're going to keep this the same. Also, it has the width and the height. Now later on we get to add instance variables, so if you want a variable just locally to this actor right here, what would happen is that you'd add this button, behaviors. Obviously this thing is going to need to do something, because if we ran the game it would just be an image on the screen, and that's where we add these here. Animations, we're going to talk about this another time. Initially visible, you can be invisible if you want. A frame, that has to do with the animation. The effect, there's all these different effects here which we'll talk about in another tutorial. And then flip, and then if we push this, I believe that has to do something with the behavior as well. And basically that is the properties. I should also mention one more thing. You can actually click this and for a different view. Alright, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.